I hope you're doing well. We are here to talk a little bit about the presidential debate that's going to take place very, very soon. So soon that it's actually taking place. Hang on, let me mute my notifications. They're annoying. Okay. Uh, it's taking place in about an hour or so, I believe. There are chosen topics um, for this particular debate. They're going to be the economy. They're going to talk about race and violence in our cities, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, and the integrity of the election, which all should be incredibly interesting topics. Oh, and I missed the Trump and Biden records, which should be an even more interesting topic. The Supreme Court's a big one. We know that, we had the death of a very prominent Supreme Court judge, and it came at an unfortunate time because it's going to inevitably cause a lot of tension, and a lot more will be at stake in this particular election, specifically because, the Supreme Court, if, the nominee is chosen, could potentially completely change a lot of the already established ideas or opinions, such as things like on abortion, and again, it's a moment of a lot of tension, and I think that there's a lot at stake. So the Supreme Court conversation, I think, will, be incredibly important to watch out for. Feel like both candidates are going to feel like they are the indicated individuals to make this decision. Donald Trump sticking by his nominee, and Joe Biden insisting that the next president, the person who's elected after the November 3rd elections, should be the one to decide. A lot of people feel a lot of ways about that. Um, so, whew. I really think, though, that, when we're looking through these topics, like, for example, the Supreme Court, the candidates might not communicate with each other as much as they are aiming to communicate with the audience. And that's typical, for debate, especially when, you really only have a few minutes, like 2 minutes, 15 minutes per topic in this case, and then 2 minutes, to speak on each topic. The time is incredibly limited, and ultimately what you get to put out there are just kind of sound bites and things that you can use for later, after the debate's over, to make your opponent look like they lost the debate or like they are the enemy. Unfortunately, many of these conversations won't go into as much depth. And there might be the chance that we might not even see as much clash or back and forth between the candidates, or it's likely that we might actually see some clash. But in this case, I think that it's likely that the strategy from the Biden campaign and the Trump campaign will be to get those sound bites out about their ideas of each topic. We might hear Donald Trump say that his response to COVID-19 was appropriate given the information that he was aware of in that moment. While, Joe Biden will push back and talk about how he might have handled the situation differently or better, and how he's going to handle the situation on his first day of his presidency. Already he has a lot of, I think COVID-19 will be one of the first things that he acts on in his first 100 days of presidency. I don't know. I'm outside, and I feel like we should be trying to always advocate for safety, and I think that if I set that example, to others, they might be more likely to want to wear one themselves. Although Scott Poole, God, excuse my, wants me to take off my mask, I will keep it on as to set a good example to others. Remember your conversation about the economy, which I mean, is going to be an incredibly difficult conversation to have because, again, we're going to be looking back at COVID-19 and its implications and effects on, the entire the entire country. I mean, there's, this expectation that the economy is on the verge of getting much worse than it already is. Small businesses are trailing behind. In Austin, we attended a rally to save the music industry in Austin that has been severely affected by the pandemic, where venues are closing. It's not just the musicians who don't any longer have live music, which is the majority of their income, but you're also seeing that the venues, the bartenders, restaurant owners, people that depend on the traffic from these live events, are now waiting to see what's going to happen and how we can, hopefully avoid a catastrophe, an economic catastrophe. And I think that both presidents have very different approaches, especially because of their considerations. Again, this is going to be very focused on COVID-19. Because of their considerations of what is safe or what isn't safe to do, right? Donald Trump feels like the safest thing is to open the country. Meanwhile, Joe Biden definitely doesn't agree that the United States is currently in a position to open up the United States, again, with the considerations of COVID-19. uh, I know, right? I know, guys. So race and violence in our cities is going to be another conversation. And I mean, when isn't race a conversation, in presidential elections or any politics in the United States? I feel like race has been at the center of many of our decisions and it has been at the center of the history of America. And so I wonder what the questions are going to be, especially given the recent protests, the uprising, the decision on Breonna Taylor. It's all going to really kind of be outed in this conversation. But again, the expectations are that there's going to be mostly sound bites, where Joe Biden is going to demonstrate his support for BLM. He might, even speak against, any rioting, because I know that Joe Biden has in the past, which might be a point where, maybe Donald Trump tries to also agree with Joe Biden, especially given that he tried this platinum plan thing recently. I forget what it's called. He had a platinum plan, and so he's going to try to see. I think that there might be a little more, parallels here than there are points of clash, but I don't know. I wouldn't know what to expect. But again, at the end of the day, sound bites that these presidential candidates are going to be able to use to uh, hype up their base and get people to vote. And then one that's really big is the integrity of the election. See, once you talk about COVID, the economy, race and violence in our cities, the integrity of elections, those all go back to COVID. I mean, the integrity of the election, is a conversation about the U.S. Postal Service, having to process millions of mail-in ballots because people aren't voting in person. And also, obviously, Trump has some concerns about the integrity of elections in general, that go beyond that particular, point of contention, but that is going to be, a huge focus. The COVID-19 is going to be a huge focus in this first presidential debate. So, um, it's going to be. Uh, It's going to be an interesting debate, and I think that we can already kind of predict what is going to be said, especially because again, it's going to come out in the form of sound bites. Uh, I don't understand why people are so focused on the fact that I have a mask. Virtue sig. Okay, I mean, I'll take it off. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, it's no big deal. So, kind of reading here, just looking at my notes, the key elements of the Biden plan, energy and the climate are going to be a big conversation in the future. And I think that the Biden plan seems to be really oriented towards dramatically, do making investments in energy efficiency, using newer technology, etc. But at this moment, I don't think that that is going to be, uh, a conversation for tonight. The focus will likely be on the Supreme Court, the Biden records, the economy. Yeah. So that's 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 it. I know that there's still an ongoing movement in Austin and in other cities across the country. In regards to protests, I don't see this ending anytime soon. I don't know though. That's only for me to speculate. But mostly, whatever I can cover, whatever I can go and do, I will do, and part of it is this presidential uh, debate, which I am really not sure if I'm looking forward to. So, do you guys have any questions at this moment? Aside from the questions of the masks, I'm gonna scroll through these comments and see if I can answer any questions. But yeah, and I think after the debate, we can come on and really talk about some of these topics. I really just wanted to take a couple minutes, before going into the debate to talk about, what we can expect the conversation to look like, what this debate might sound like, and how it relates to what we lived, on the streets and in person and stuff. And then we can talk more in detail after this debate passes. Ah, man, that's a good question, Dana. Do I think that that's going to be brought up? I don't know. Uh, that will likely be brought up in the economy and the Trump and Biden records conversations. I mean, it's certainly an interesting, conversation or point of contention, and I don't know how Trump might respond to this at the debates, but I think it'll be clear what the message will be from Donald Trump, and his response will be to this particular, the New York Times, I think, was the one that posted the tax records. So of this new development and what we know about Trump and his taxes. Why do you wear? Why do you wear? Why do you have a mask on alone? Uh, I don't know. I just thought I just thought it'd be good. As an example that we should all wear masks. That's all. I mean, there was really nothing more to it. And honestly, like, I don't really think it matters whether I wear one or not. But I appreciate your question. Mark, I can see your comments on YouTube, and I will not take it off. I only see one question here. It's like, what do I think about Trump's lack of tax payments? Man, I really want to hear what Trump has to say about this. I'm really interested to see what the explanation will be because it's certainly I mean, it's certainly intriguing, right? It's exactly what I think the people that were looking to look through his taxes were hoping to find. And so, I wonder what it'll be used, this information, how it will be used in the debate, and how Donald Trump will respond to it. I don't feel like I think much of it right now beyond just curious what the reaction will be and what if essentially the way that this will affect the conversation in the elections. So I mean, this could be true. What Donald said. Donald said that in 2016 he said that he doesn't pay taxes. That I mean, I that might be true, and if it's old news, and how is it adding to the conversation? I don't know. I don't even know if that claim is true though. So just something to consider. Do I think law enforcement will be brought up? How do you think each candidate will respond? So I think law enforcement will be brought up. Certainly, there will be a conversation about law enforcement when it comes to race and violence in our cities, because I think right now the conversation, about race and violence in our cities is focused on police brutality, and there's been a lot of videos, footage of interactions between the Black Lives Matter movement and law enforcement. In some instances, there is some to say that there's definitely been examples of police brutality, and there's definitely been examples, of aggressive responses from protesters. And I know that again, when I talked about that, I know that Joe Biden in particular has denounced any violence or any rioting, but strongly supports the movement and the protests in general, and tends to focus on the law enforcement's response to some of these moments that there are examples. There are really legitimate examples of excessive force. So I think that Donald Trump, in a way, is also kind of trying to support law enforcement by focusing on all the moments that there hasn't been. And this is, again, this is where I think this conversation is going to be, really similar, where there's going to be a lot of parallels, where Donald Trump, with his platinum plan, is going to talk about racial equality and say that he supports it. And also, talk about how he supports law enforcement. And he's going to focus on celebrating it, while Joe Biden might focus on criticizing the response. And I think that I don't know if that's a clash, because one side is, I don't think Donald Trump will deny that law enforcement has used excessive force. I don't think that there'll be like a disagreement, there. I think that again the focus is going to be different without any real clash and more parallels, because this is going to be about sound bites. I think that this is not going to be about talking necessarily about whether or not they disagree on the facts, but more what the focus should be. Because people, I see this conversation, and it's hard for me to say because I know it gets taken and sometimes twisted, but I think the media frames the conversation, the mainstream media frames the conversation in a way that doesn't add the nuance to really what's been happening here. Because there are, Democratic candidates like Joe Biden that denounce the violence and the rioting, but support the movement. And there are other candidates that support, the more aggressive approach. And that's their prerogative, and that's great. You know what I mean? But I think the media really makes it seem like it's either one or the other, but it's not. And I think this is where we're going to see that in this conversation with Trump and Joe Biden, because I don't think Trump wants to say that he doesn't support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I also don't think that Biden wants to say that he feels comfortable with every single act that protesters have done. But again, it's not that it's weird. It's weird, and I think that might be what happens with this conversation, because I I don't know. Um, yeah. So, and Do you think Biden's ties with Ukraine will backfire? I don't know. I don't think it'll be part of the conversation tonight, though. I mean, they could, but at the same time, I think everything that you've ever done could always backfire, whether good or bad, even if it's ambiguous. So, Nkosi, stop saying that the violence and looting is part of the movement. This is why protesters are calling you the enemy of the people. Nkosi, I want to say that, I think I think that it's not part of the movement, and it's not also part of the movement. I think that the problem is that people are looking at everything, like you're saying, as one conglomerate. But truly, there are many different ideas. I mean, I have met people that feel like being militant and looting is the right way to go, and that's an opinion and a conversation that can be had that I think can be completely educational and rational, and I don't think that it needs to be discounted as a bad strategy. But then there are people that don't like the looting. I think that, like saying any one singular thing is part of the movement is wrong in general. You know what I mean? So I'm not calling the movement and the looting as one and only part of the movement. I'm saying that there's so much going on, and we need nuance, not generalizations. Uh, I I didn't say anything, Steve Ross. I did not say it was okay, and I did not say it wasn't okay. I just said that it was someone's ideas. And I think that the people that have those ideas can talk about them and can justify them, and it'd be a great conversation to have. Because I think in listening to everyone and their approach and what they're trying to do, like it's just important to understand and not be quick to judge. Um, but if you think that you're comfortable judging faster than you listen. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I don't know how much more I can talk about this presidential debate before it happens, but it'll be interesting. Couple, uh, a couple details. It'll be moderated by Fox News, Chris Wallace. It will be taking place in Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland. So 9 p.m. to 10:30 Eastern Time, without commercial breaks. So I hope you guys get something out of it. Uh, you know, let's continue to keep an open mind and see where this might go. But thank you so much for joining us. We will see you sometime soon, either out in the streets, recording whatever is happening, everything. Invite me to everything. If you have an idea of where I should go film, let me know, and I will more than likely go. Unless I logistically can't arrange for it, or unless I have something personal to do, uh, just let me know, and I'll always go. Um, so thank you so much, uh, everyone. Have a beautiful day.